Welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to be testing out and comparing 3 different chisels. We have the Lie Nielsen, the Veritas, and I finally get to try out the Blue Spruce. I know a lot of people ask me to compare the IBC or the Rob Cosman chisels. I wasn't able to get my hands on one, and I can't justify buying too many chisels for comparison videos just because I'm a small channel, okay? Give me a break. Alright, let's dive in. The first place we have to start is the handles and the comfort of these tools, because if you follow my channel, you know that I stress comfort. There is no reason to be uncomfortable in the shop. If a tool is uncomfortable to use, I'm likely to just not grab it and find a way around it, and I don't want that to be the case, especially when it comes to chisels and when it comes to saws. To me, and I would say to most people, when you actually think about it, the more comfortable a tool is, the more accurate you're going to be with it, because you can set it down, pick it up, and it just fits in your hand, and you don't have to think about, how is my hand position, where am I at? On that note, if you watched my previous videos, I did a video comparing the Veritas to the Richter. I ended up eliminating the Richters and going with the Veritas. The Richter handle was just too big for me. It was bigger than this handle, and the Veritas already has pretty big handles. After that, I did a video comparing the Veritas and the Lie Nielsen, and I ended up then eliminating the Veritas because I liked the handle of the Lie Nielsen better because it was smaller and it fit into my hand better. This part is kind of going to be subjective. It's going to depend on how big your hand is. To give you a reference, right across here, the knuckles, how you measure your hand basically, is 3 1/8 inches for me. So my hands are pretty small. So looking at the Veritas, that takes up almost my whole hand, and I feel like I have to stretch this finger to get it to the reference point. Holding it back here, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel comfortable. You're meant to hold it right there, and it's just too big for my hand. I will say on that note that for the Veritas, I picked their mortise chisels because I liked a big handle behind a mortise, but for bench chisels, I like the smaller handles. I like when they get smaller like this. Now, because I got a Blue Spruce and I got to try it out, I have to say that this is the best, I guess, of both worlds. It's small, it's comfortable, it fits in my hand really well. I like it better than the Lie Nielsen because it's simpler. They didn't do as much to the handle. Like with this one, it goes real fat up here, it's got this bump, it goes narrow here. I mean, they did a lot of fancy things, and it's just, it doesn't reference as well. And I don't know how to explain it. This references where it fits. I mean, you can see that rest there, this rest here, that rest there. This is kind of, it's above the line here, it's above the line. Let me scoot it back. Well, now I'm pretty far away, so it's different. And again, I know it's weird, but I'm a little OCD when it comes to this stuff. I will also mention that I like that the Blue Spruce has this indent as a reference point, that you're able to put your finger right here. With the Lie Nielsen, you don't know where you are on the chisel when you pick it up. You can spin it around and there's nowhere to reference it. Like I said, the Lie Nielsen are my chisel set, so I have them, not in all sizes, but I have a decent set of them. This is the same size as the Blue Spruce. I believe it's the 1/2 inch. There's no reference point. So if you set it down and pick it up, you don't know where you are on the chisel. See what I mean? Veritas does have the reference point. They have this right here, and then they also put it on their handle, so you can see a flat and a round right there. So they have the reference in the handle. They also have the reference on the chisel. I just find that that's a really big bonus when it comes to comfort of the handles. One thing I will say too about the Lie Nielsen is that you can pop the handle off if you need to. If you want to turn different handles, you can change them. If you need to take the handle off to get in close, you can do that as well. I'm not sure if Lie Nielsen sells butt chisels or not, but I can show you the Blue Spruce and the Veritas because I'm going to be doing a separate video on butt chisels and talking about those ones. Veritas again has the reference point. They have the flat and the round. The handles are slightly smaller than their bench chisel sizes, which, I mean, okay, but when you look at the Blue Spruce, they're the same. So whether you're going from a bench chisel or a butt chisel, you know that you're grabbing the same, it's the same way. It's going to fit in your hand the exact same way. It's going to have the reference point the exact same way. So I feel like that's a big bonus to their chisels. I will add on that for the Blue Spruce, because I also have their 1/4 inch, the smaller one does not have a reference point. It does have this little indent right here that you can feel. So if you put it in your hand, then you might be able to feel that, but it does not have a reference point like the bigger chisels do. In my opinion, it's still better than the Lie Nielsen because it's square, and the Lie Nielsen is round right here, so you really can't reference anything. This, at least, you can know, are you on a flat side or not, basically. I forgot to add something about the chisel handles. So this one, the Veritas, is made out of torrefied maple. I have heard of people busting the handle on this chisel, and then they either replace it themselves. I don't know if they're able to send it back and have them fix it or not, but keep that in mind. Lie Nielsen uses hornbeam. I have heard of people breaking these handles, but the cool thing is that you can just pop the handle out, get a new handle, and put it on there, or turn your own or whatever. With the Blue Spruce, you don't have to worry about that, because what they do with all of their handles is they resin infuse them so they are stronger. The other thing that does is it helps with weight. So the balance of this, I think I had mentioned that, the balance of this one is awesome because it has a little bit more weight in the handle than these other two do. Like this one is a very light handle. This one is a little bit heavier, but this one right here, because it's resin infused and it has just that little bit of extra weight, it really makes it balanced in your hand. Even when it comes to the smaller one, that resin infused just adds enough to make it balanced. The next thing that I want to look at, I've been fussing around with them and trying to show you in camera, but it's pretty difficult. I want to show you guys the sides of the chisels and how much of a point they go to and how beveled they are. And the reason that matters is because when you're cleaning dovetails, this is going to get into the shoulder. Or if you're cleaning shoulders, how clean is this point? Is it going to scrape? All that kind of stuff. With the Veritas, they go exactly to a point. They go so much so to a point, can you hear this? That they get sharp. After you hone this and lap the back, and then you go to cut, you will cut yourself on the finger. I've done it many times on both and ended up bleeding all over my workpiece, because what you have to do is sand the sides down because they get so sharp. The Lie Nielsens, you don't have to worry about that because I say that it has the biggest. It goes to the biggest point. I don't know how to word it, and that's what I'm trying to show you guys in camera. I don't know if you can see that dark line. That's the point that it goes to. Now, when I show you the Blue Spruce, it's actually right in between the two, which I like. It's almost like they had it go exactly to a point and then ease the edges for you like you have to do yourself to the Veritas. But when I show you in camera, see that light strip? Right there? It looks, it looks like it has a big side to it, but it doesn't. It goes very narrow. Like I said, it's basically like it goes to a point and they did the work for you of taking that edge off. So then that way when you lap it, you don't have to worry about this getting so sharp that it cuts you. Continuing on about the narrowness of the chisels, I just want to point out that the Veritas is the narrowest chisel here. And that can matter in certain applications. Like for example, the dovetails, the smaller it is, the better it is to get into those little tiny corners. They do make dedicated, the Blue Spruce and the Lie Nielsen both make dedicated dovetail, I think they're called fishtail chisels. I don't think the Veritas does, but with this being narrow, you don't really need them. To show you a comparison, there it is next to the Lie Nielsen. Here it is next to the Blue Spruce. I know it's not really fair because this is the 1/2 inch, but you can see Veritas just slightly narrower. I do have the Blue Spruce 1/4 inch, and you can see there, Veritas is still narrower than the Blue Spruce. Next thing we got to look at is sharpness right out of the box. I have to take the Lie Nielsen out of this part of the video because when I bought these, they were used. So I can't speak to how this performed right out of the box. You guys can let us know down below. So just looking at these two chisels, right away I have to say the Blue Spruce takes the cake. When I took it out of the box, it was shaving hairs right away. And then, I mean, look how cool that is. There's the camera. That's just awesome. I know a lot of people chase a mirrored back. They do it for you. The other thing is, let me see if I can get some of my grease off of this. Because I've been using this and I've been testing it out and you can see the scrapes. But it still has the mirror. So I just think that it's just cool. To me, that's a bonus. But it did shave hairs right out of the box. It handled end grain with no issues right out of the box. The Veritas, what they do is this has no mirror on it, and they actually tell you not to flatten the backs of their chisels. They say that this gray right here is a rust protectant. But the guy that I borrowed this from has not used this chisel, so it was new out of the box, and you can see there were rust spots that I was scraping off. So I'm not too sure about how that works. I mean, you can see right here that the gray is going away. When I unboxed it, I scraped some rust off right there. There's a little point of rust. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it right there. I'm going to interject here. So with Veritas having this on the back, I feel that this has more resistance than the other chisels when it comes to how well it slides against the wood. With these ones, you might actually be able to see it right now. Putting the same amount of pressure, you can see how it just slides. This one too just slides. But when it comes to the Veritas, it feels like it sticks. It feels like it doesn't glide as well. So me personally, if these were my users, I would take this quote-unquote rust preventative off of the back. This chisel did cut out of the box. It did not shave hairs right out of the box, but it was able to cut. It just didn't feel as smooth. And in their instructions, they tell you it needs final honing when you buy it. When I did the video comparing this chisel to the Richter, the Veritas chisel actually took major edge damage. It took a big chip out. And the other thing that I'm hearing about these chisels is that you're actually supposed to grind this down a little bit to get to the stronger metals, so that way it doesn't chip out. So that's something to keep in mind with these ones, is when you buy them, you're supposed to take them, I guess, to the grinder right away and then hone them. The Blue Spruce, right out of the box, you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to worry about it at all. You could buy it, pop it out of the box, and use it right away. So, yeah. I was going to be done with this part of the video, but I'm going to add on. I don't understand why we're paying so much for chisels, and they're not ready to go right out of the box. Clearly, it's possible. So, I don't understand. They're all right around the same price range. So, the Lie Nielsen, I'm doing these ones. I did the prices in half-inch because that's what this one is. So, Veritas half-inch is $95.50. Lie Nielsen half-inch is $95, and the Blue Spruce half-inch is $100. So they're all right around the same price. Let me add on for these two. So Veritas does free shipping. Blue Spruce, the shipping to me was $9 for, I think, the 4-piece set when I was looking. Lie Nielsen, their shipping can be like $15. So you're at the same price. You know what I mean? So I just don't understand. When they're right around the same price, why can't we get tools that are ready to go out of the box? Why do we have to do final honing when we're paying $100 per chisel? Same thing with hand plane. All right, I'm done. The last category is edge retention, which is kind of difficult, and it can get super duper technical, and I'm not going to get super duper technical about it. I really like that James Wright did, because he did a video, and I believe it was like looking at the edge retention and how many swipes and all of this kind of stuff. I don't have time for that, so I'm not doing that. I'm just going to go from what my experience was with using these. I've used these two for a long time. This one is the newest one in my shop. Out of my experience with these, I'll say that the Lie Nielsen had the least edge retention, and it was the most difficult to sharpen, so this one's on the bottom of my list. Leaving these two, I would say with edge retention, they're comparable. They're very, very close to each other. But when it comes to sharpening, the Blue Spruce, I can just grab strop and go back to work. With the Veritas, the PMV11, I felt like I needed to hit it on the stone, the strop, and then go back to work. That's the best way that I'm going to explain it to you. So I guess for that category, the Blue Spruce would win as well, because you can just strop it, go to work, versus stone, strop, go to work. So to sum everything up, I want to start with my opinion and show you guys who I thought was the winner. So as you can see, I am going to be selling the Lie Nielsen set to then buy the rest of the Blue Spruce chisels to complete the set. I know that I had talked about how it can shave hairs right out of the box and how it has a nice mirror on the back. I understand that that does not affect the longevity, or I guess the lifetime of the tool, but I think that that's a huge bonus to it, that you don't have to buy it and sharpen it right away. With the Veritas, you have to buy it, grind it back, and then sharpen it. Again, Lie Nielsen I can't speak to, but to me that was a huge bonus. Thinking about the longevity of it, it was the most comfortable to me. It has that reference point. The handle fits really well in my hand. The Veritas handle was too big, but it did have a reference point. The Lie Nielsen handle was just, I guess, over-designed, over-shaped. All those curves and how it lumps out, and you don't need all of that, and it doesn't have a reference point. So comparing them side by side, the Blue Spruce and the Lie Nielsen, Blue Spruce takes the cake for me. The other bonus to it is it's resin infused, so you don't have to worry about breaking the handle. It makes it really well balanced in your hand. I'm very impressed with that part of the chisel, which, again, to me, is one of the most important parts. Then when you get to the edge retention side of it, it held its edge as long as the Veritas PMV11 did, but with the Veritas, for me, I found that I needed to hit the stone, hit the strop, and then go back to work. With the Blue Spruce, it was basically just hitting the strop and getting back to work. I know eventually you're going to have to hit it on the stone, but I didn't need to in all of my testing with it, so I thought that that was another huge bonus to that chisel. The only downside I would say to the Blue Spruce is that I wish they were narrower. When I was looking at the 1/4 inch chisel and comparing it to the other 3/8 chisel, it was just a little bit thicker, and I wish it was a little bit narrower. But I don't know that that's going to bother me in the woodwork that I do. I think just seeing the Veritas and seeing how narrow it is, I'm like, well, why can't the other one be narrow? But I don't know that that is going to make a difference to me. We'll find out when I do dovetails, and I'll update you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, any comments, if you tried out these brands and made a decision based off of your experience with them, please let people know down below so they can see other opinions as well. Hope you enjoyed. Did I say that already? Yep. Have a good day. Adios.